Iowa State at Iowa. Iowa, similar to Northwestern here, favored by 2.5. So that means that on a neutral field, they might actually be holding Iowa State here and having them favored. This is an interesting one on Saturday at 7 o'clock on CBS. Is it 7 o'clock? I may have got that wrong. I apologize
I
if I
think it's
did.
3:30. I
And
think
it's
it's
3:30.
3:30.
I apologize. I wrote that in wrong. At 3:30 on CBS, Iowa State at Iowa. Iowa looking like they have a little bit of an offense against Illinois State. Illinois State, not a bad FCS team. I don't know
Mhm.
how much that matters to people. That is a good FCS team. Kirk Ferentz not there. Iowa puts up 40. Coincidence? Who knows? Was Kirk Ferentz not holding them back? Who knows? But I'm interested to get your thoughts on this one. This line is closer than I anticipated it would have been, Zach.
Yeah, uh, sometimes this means that Vegas knows something, but I wonder if the line is the way it is because of Rocco Becht. And I think maybe people are expecting that he will show out and are expecting that Iowa, like people saw the first half of Iowa and be like, oh, 6-0. Oh yeah, Iowa's back to being Iowa. I think people would be surprised to know that Iowa had almost five. I think they did have 500 yards of offense. If not, it was very close. And it
Yeah.
was very close to even 250 and 250. Iowa State rushed for 86 yards. I believe it was for under 3 yards a carry. And they did not, I forget who they played, but it was not a good opponent.
North Dakota.
Yeah, North Dakota. It was, again, very similar opponent to Illinois State. In fact, I think North Dakota beat Illinois State by 1 point last year. So, like, very even teams in terms of competition. Beck looked good, but like they only scored 21. Iowa, I know it was the second half where they did most of their scoring, but they had a number of things that really impressed me. One is Cade McNamara played pretty well, passed for a lot of yards. Running game was good. Caleb Johnson played really well. Cade McNamara threw 3 touchdowns, all to wide receivers. And Caleb Brown was out, their best receiver. So, like, you've got an offensive coordinator who's dialing up different offensive plays to stretch the defense. And if you're telling me that Iowa State's going to go into Kinnick and be one-dimensional and beat that defense, like I've got some oceanfront property in Iowa to sell you. I just don't know how that works. So can Iowa State win this game? Sure. But they've got to be able to run the ball and be they can't be one dimensional. And I just don't see how that happens with this Iowa defense. So I've got Iowa. I think I have them by 2 scores.
Yeah, I think Iowa's defensive line is going to take over in this one. I like their trenches better than Illinois, than Iowa State's trenches as well. You're kind of discovering a little bit of a theme here in my picks for this one. I just think that some of these underrated Big Ten teams just have better trenches. Honestly, I think I was trying to go through the position groups and figure out who do I like better between Iowa State and Iowa. Really, the only 2 position groups I could find was receivers. Iowa State I like better, and then possibly quarterback, but Cade McNamara looked really good against Illinois State. Again, I know it's Illinois State, Illinois State. Iowa State did play North Dakota, but I thought Cade McNamara looked better than Rocco Betts did against their FCS opponent. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know. This is a tough one. They do play every single year. The Cy-Hawk rivalry, as Philip's pointing out here. So rivalry games, it's always difficult to predict. But I mean, if I'm gonna go with just who do I think is the better team, who do I think is the better coached team, I think it's Iowa, and I would not be surprised if Iowa put up 20 plus points in this one if Tim Lester can get his offense rolling and you find out that this Iowa State defensive line is just maybe not as good as the offensive line for Iowa in this one.
Yeah. Yeah. I won't give a specific score, but I'll say Iowa by 2 scores.
Oh, really? Wow. I forget what I wrote down. Let me look really fast. Yes, I have Iowa winning this one 20-14. I could definitely see a situation where Iowa wins by 2 scores. I just think rivalry game, it's gonna be close and it's gonna be hard to pull away in these. So I'm gonna pick Iowa 20-14 in this one. But honestly, it would not surprise me if Iowa pulls ahead and wins by more. Also, it wouldn't surprise me if Iowa State wins this one.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Yeah.
rivalry game. We'll see. Dave has a comment here I want to bring up. He said, turnovers for Iowa will always help. They struggled a little bit at the beginning of the game against Illinois State, but they got to capitalize on turnovers against the Cyclones. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. Iowa struggled kind of in the beginning. Iowa State scored 14 points in the first half, and then they didn't score again until the fourth quarter after that one. So they kind of had a hard time against North Dakota there. So you could kind of say portions of the game didn't go so well for both teams. We'll see what happens here. I mean, who do you like better? Let's talk about the quarterbacks for a minute. Zach, who do you like better, Cade McNamara or Rocco Betts?
I think resume wise, probably Becht.
Yeah, Betts. Sorry, I said Betts.
Yeah, but I think in terms of like who has maybe had the best ceiling at times, like we dog on McNamara a lot, but there's a reason why he started for a year at Michigan, and I think his high end, well, not JJ McCarthy, obviously, like he can be a good quarterback. It's just we haven't seen it in a while. And I think Kirk Ferentz alluded to that at Big Ten Media Days. It's like we haven't seen the best of Cade McNamara. We haven't seen the McNamara we saw on film. And so I think track record wise and consistency wise, I'd probably take Becht. But I think ceiling, I actually might go McNamara. Not because of NFL traits necessarily. I think probably Becht is the better NFL NFL traits. Yeah. But in terms of like running a college offense, I would probably say McNamara.
Yeah, I agree. In college, you definitely take him. You know who else I take over Iowa State? Caleb Johnson. I think Caleb Johnson is going to have a pretty good season this year if the offense can get up and running the way we think it can. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be top 5 running back in the Big Ten or anything like that, but I think that he's going to have a pretty good season, and he's going to be a name. Yeah, I think he's going to be a name that people are going to have to know, and he's going to be a key player going into some of these games as well. And then, of course, we can't go away without talking about the man, the tackling machine, Jay Higgins. Zach, is he going to stop this Iowa State running attack single-handedly?
I don't know if he'll have to do it single-handedly because of how good this defense is, but I mean, he's a one-man wrecking crew for sure.
Yep. And Aaron Graves, the defensive tackle for Iowa, if you've not heard his name yet, if you've not seen him yet, watch him in this game. Aaron Graves is a beast in the middle of that Iowa defensive line. Also, one of my favorite names in all of college football, Yahya, the defensive end for Iowa. I can't wait to hear him get a sack and hear the announcer say, Yah, with the sack.
They've got some good names on Xavier Dwanpa and
Reese Vanderzee.
Yeah. That's another point. I think names. A lot of
we did talk about that with names. USC, the names fit better, so they're going to win. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. No, you were talking about, maybe Becht might be better and like maybe the receivers.
Yeah.
But I think even that matchup is not good for Iowa State because you're putting them against Sebastian Castro and like that. Like every phase of Iowa's defense is top 10, maybe top 5 in the country. Yeah. And so like, this isn't like, like they've got good corners. No, they have really good corners and they have a really good safety. And you're pairing that with really good linebackers who can both tackle, but also play coverage. And that's why I'm like, rivalry aside, I don't see where Iowa State has an advantage, and it's in Kinnick. So Vegas knows something, but I'm going to trust my instinct on this one. And like, I think Iowa wins. And I just think it doesn't feel like a 1-score game to me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think that the reason why I pick 1-score, like I said, rivalry. But you're right. I mean, like I said, the only area at Iowa State I would say for sure is better than Iowa is wide receivers. You could argue quarterback, but I don't think there's anything else that Iowa State has that's better than Iowa. So it would take a really crazy effort and a really well-coached game by Matt Campbell to win this one. But you know what? Kirk Ferentz, he's come back from parole. He's
From
he's feeling
parole.
himself. Did you see that video on Twitter?
No, I didn't.
The Heavens guy, he makes AI videos and stuff.
Oh my
He
gosh.
had a Kirk Ferentz coming out of the prison on parole.
That's
really
amazing.
funny.
Watch, we just praised Iowa's offense, and like Kirk Ferentz is going to button it up, and McNamara is going to like throw 5 picks, and we're going to come back on Tuesday or on Sunday and be like, well, here we go again. And Brendan Sullivan.
Don't speak that evil on these Hawkeyes. These Hawkeyes have suffered long enough, Zach. Kirk Ferentz won't do this to them.
Listen, if I could suffer like that and still get 10 wins a season, I'd be okay. That's it's better than what Minnesota has to go through with discount Kirk Ferentz at the helm.
Oh, discount.
So, yeah,
I was going to say better dressed Kirk Ferentz.
I don't know.
He's got the tighter pants.
But is that better?
I guess it was better 5 years ago when skinny jeans were in.
Yeah.
But maybe not today.
Yeah, I'm not sure PJ's rowing any boats in that outfit.